Hello Year 6, welcome to your literacy video for Tuesday. Well done yesterday on your reading comprehension. You did really well, and I could really tell that you had all been watching my video because you all did the exact questions that I asked you to do and then did the extra ones that I set. So well done. I can tell you're watching really carefully, which is lovely. So today we are moving on to pages 18 and 19 if you are in the train book. Okay, so if you've got this book, we're going to go through this one first like we always do, and then I'll move on and go over the one with the monkey on the front afterwards. Okay, so you can always skip past this part if you want to. So most of you then, your learning question is, can I answer questions on the text tracking basking sharks? And it's on pages 18 and 19. So you turn to page 18, but I've got a little challenge for you before you go on to your questions today. So your your text today then, is tracking basking sharks. And it says basking sharks are the second largest species of fish in the world. They have huge mouths, but they aren't dangerous to humans because they only eat tiny sea creatures. This article describes a project that aims to find out more about basking sharks by tracking their movements. Okay, so your challenge then, before we get started on our questions, is to go through this text and, like we did together last week, find any words that you are unfamiliar with, words that you're not sure of, you're not sure what they mean. Either highlight them, circle them, or underline them, and then go onto Google, go onto dictionary.com and type that word in and find out what it means. Now, this is your book. You can do whatever you want with it. You can underline on it, you can draw on it, you can write some notes down the side if you want to explain what each word means, so that you then can use that when you answer your questions and you'll have a bit of a better understanding. Okay, so the first bit then, so the headline says scientists using new technology to track endangered basking sharks as the creatures reach UK shores. Okay, so you might not be 100% sure about what endangered means. So you're going to go onto the internet, or if you've got a dictionary, an actual dictionary book at home, you can use that. So go onto Google, type in dictionary.com. Okay, go on that one, and then up at the top, just like we did together last week, you're going to write your word in there. So my word was endangered. Okay, I'm going to have a look. So it means threatened with a danger, and it says threatened with extinction. So if something goes extinct, then it doesn't exist anymore. Okay, so if it's threatened to be extinct, then there's not many left. So for example, like dinosaurs are extinct. Okay, so they're at risk of becoming extinct. Okay, so that's something that you need to try and remember for when you read this text, because we now know that basking sharks are endangered and they're at risk. Okay, so you go ahead and do that then. You can pause the video now if you want to, go through, highlight any words you're not sure of, and then don't forget to take a picture of that as well when you send your work in, because I'd love to see your vocabulary work. Okay, we're going to have a look at a couple of the questions together then. I know yesterday I said we were only going to do a few of the questions, but today I think with this non-fiction text, you'll be fine with these questions. So we are going to do them all today like we usually would. Okay, so question 1 then says, why does the basking shark's diet play an important part in the project? Now this question is a finding evidence question, just like we practiced last week. So I'll go through this one with you, but then number 4 is also an evidence question. So we'll do one together, then you can pause the video and have a go at number 4 by yourself. So let's have a look. So why does the basking shark's diet play an important part in the project? Now I've read through the text really carefully, and I've got the bit that I think I could use to back up my answer in this question. So I already know that the shark's diet play an important part, but we want to know why. Why is the key word. Okay, can you see that? 1 second, let me just... There we go. It's a bit better when I'm a bit closer, isn't it? Okay, so the plankton is attracting the sharks, one of just 3 shark species that eat plankton, directly into the reaches of researchers. As a result, scientists are now poised to start tagging the sharks for the first time, allowing them to track their movements via GPS. So, if we're talking about the shark's diet, that's what the shark eats. Okay? So here it tells us that they eat plankton. Yeah? So that's their diet. Okay? And it says the plankton is attracting the sharks directly into the reaches of researchers. So the plankton, the diet of the shark, are helping out the researchers, really, aren't they? They're attracting, obviously the sharks are following the plankton because they want to eat it, and then they're going straight to the researchers. Okay, so your answer then, I'm going to model how you would write your answer, and then you should be able to have a go at question 4. So you might write something like, for number 1, the plankton remember your best handwriting, so remember to do those nice cursive joins. The plankton are attracting, and really I'm just copying a little bit of this from the text. Oh, hang on a second, a bit of a mistake there. Oh, carry on from here. So the plankton are attracting the sharks directly. Board to catch up. Directly to the researchers. Okay, so you've just got to make sure you're answering that question. So the question is asking, how do they play an important part in the project? So the plankton are attracting the sharks directly to the researchers. Okay, so once you've done question 1 then, you can then pause the video and skip to question 4. Have a go at question 4. So question 4 says, explain how Lucy Hawkes feels about basking sharks. So that one, you're going to have to find how she feels, and that would be 1 mark. And then number 2 is your evidence from the text. Okay? So number 2 then is a summarised question. And this is the kind of question that I think we're struggling on a little bit. So I want to go over this one with you. So it says, summarise the information in lines 18 to 25. Now I've snipped 18 to 25 and popped it on the board for you so we can see it. Let's have a read. So it says the GPS devices, which look like mini submarines and are fitted with special fins, will be inserted just beneath the skin into the tough section of muscle next to the dorsal fin using a 12-foot long window cleaner's pole. Every time a tag comes to the surface of the water, it sends a message to 6 satellites which triangulate its position. Okay, so this first part is all about how the GPS device is fitted. Okay, so that's all about how it is fitted. And this second part is about how it works. Okay, and that's pretty much a summary of what this paragraph is. So a summary is like an overall idea of what it's about. So overall, what's it telling us? Okay, so that can be your answer. So you can say summarise information. The information in this section tells us how a GPS device is fitted and how it works. Okay. Number 3 then is a word meaning question. So for this one, I'll go through it quickly with you, but then I want you to have a go. I'm not going to tell you the answer. So I've snipped the little bit of information that you're going to need. So the question is, what do you think the word elusive in line 27 means? Check your answer in a dictionary. Now, I want you to have a look and find it. Read the sentence that it's in before you use a dictionary. Okay, dictionary should be to check it at the end. So do it first, then check it. So it says the project aims to discover valuable information about the behaviour of these huge but elusive sharks, such as their diving habits, where they feed, and their migration patterns. So elusive is here. Okay. I think then if we don't know much about their diving habits, we don't know much about where they feed, and we don't know much about how they migrate, then I think they must be quite hard to find. Yeah, they're quite mysterious. So I would write that on the line, okay? Then, to double check I am right, we'll go back onto dictionary.com, type elusive in up there and see what comes up, okay? And then you can always just correct it or just write it next to it. You don't have to cross it out. As long as you've had a go first, that's absolutely fine. Okay, I think you are going to be absolutely fine on your other 3 questions for today. So question 5 says, which phrase in lines 40 to 44 shows that the tracking team will react quickly when a basking shark is spotted? So have a look, that's in your very last paragraph down here. Have a look around line 41. That's your clue. Remember, a phrase is about 2 or 3 words. How do you know they're going to act quickly when a basking shark is sighted? Number 6 then, why do you think a project like this would have been impossible 100 years ago? Have a look in the headline for this one. What have we got now that we wouldn't have had 100 years ago? And then the last one is, do you think tracking basking sharks is a good or a bad idea? Now that one is up to you, isn't it? Okay, as long as you use some evidence. So remember, bit of a hint here for you, that basking sharks are endangered. So that might help you with your answer. Okay, so that's your reading for today. If you have got the book with the monkey on the front then, so this book, then your next work for today is, can I answer retrieval questions on the text sports? So you're on page 20 to 21. So your text looks like that one. Okay, so you've got some all different sports on your page and then some questions on each one. So let's have a look at the first couple of questions together. So the first one then says, why is it important to do exercise? So I'm going to read this very top bit of information. So that's the bit that's right underneath your title, right at the top. So it says, to stay healthy, it is important to do lots of exercise. Sorry, to do plenty of exercise. There are lots of different sports that you can do. So here, it's important to do plenty of exercise. We already know that, don't we? So that's not our answer, because the question was asking us, why is it important? Okay, so the clue is going to be here. This tells us why it's important. Okay, so you can use that to answer your first question. Question 2 then says, in football, how many people on each team are allowed to pick up the ball? Now, I've snipped the bit of information that I need for this question. Now, this is important because for questions 2, 3 and 4, you've got to make sure you are looking in the right sections. So, for example, this one says, in football. And now the first word in here is football. So I know I'm in the right section. So make sure you find the right sport. And it says here, only the goalkeeper is allowed to touch the ball with their hands. So that's one person, isn't it? If there was more than one goalkeeper, it would say goalkeepers. Oh, sorry. It would say goalkeepers, wouldn't it? It'd have an S on the end. But because it's singular, that means there's only one. Okay? So you go through, do the rest of those then, and I am going to go through question 6 with you. So question 6 says, which do you think would be the hardest sport and why? So you've got to make sure for this one, that you use your text. You've got to pick a sport off your text. You can't just pick a random one. It's got to be one that's in here. So, for example, you might say that you think the hardest sport would be judo. And that's fine. Any of your sports could be the right answer, as long as you explain why, because we've got to answer this bit, haven't we? Okay, so we could say judo because, and then you can make up your answer. Okay, so you might say something like judo because I think you'd have to be quite strong to pin somebody down. Okay, something like that. But obviously, you can do whichever sport you want. And then I think you'll be absolutely fine with your last question as well. Okay, so that's your reading for today. So, word power work for today then. If you haven't got a word power book, then please don't worry. You carry on in your handwriting books. I've been so impressed with the improvement in some of your handwriting work. So well done. Just make sure that our letters aren't too big. We're keeping them all roughly the same size and we're trying to write on the line. But I can tell you are all trying really, really hard, which is lovely to see. So if you have got a word power book, then your next page for today is page 24. Okay, and it's called Sticking Words Together. Okay, so let's have a look at this then. So this is all about compound words. So compound words is when you've got two quite short words and you put them together to make a longer word. For example, playground. Play and ground, you put them together to make playground. Okay, so let's have a look. It says some words are made by putting shorter words together. If you know what these shorter words mean, you can understand the longer ones. It's a bit like a word code you have to crack. Which words are made from these short words? For example, foot and print would make footprint. So on here then, you've got two pictures. You've got to have a look at the picture and look really carefully. So for example, that first one, there is an arrow. So have a look at which bit of the body the arrow is pointing to and then write that on the line underneath. Okay, so you write the word for that picture there, the word for that picture there, and then put both words together on the end line. The next bit then says, can you work out which compound words are being described by the clues? All the shorter words you need are on the right. So the first one says, a place for having lessons. A classroom. Class and room makes classroom. Okay, so I think if you read all of those, then you will be able to figure those ones out. The bottom one then says, can you make two more compound words from the words above or other words? So you'll notice that once you've done these ones, you've got some spare words here that you can use, or you can come up with your own. I'm sure you all know lots of compound words, even though you didn't realise it. For example, I gave you one, playground. Okay, so good luck with all of your literacy work for today. You're all doing absolutely brilliantly at home. We are loving all of the pictures that you are sending in every day. And I look forward to seeing your work for today. See you tomorrow.